Good afternoon. I'm not Andre. My name is Norm. Andre is my brother, and these are his words. I lived with my mother my entire life. After my father passed away in 1979, my mother, my brother Marius, and I became like a trio. We functioned as a team to keep our household going. At my mother's invitation, we had so many friends and relatives stay with us in our house in Cyprus, either as they were emigrating to this country and getting settled, or when they visited from the Philippines. It seemed like we were a port of entry to America. But now that my mother has passed away, I feel like an orphan at 53. My mother and I are complete opposites. She was a morning person, I'm nocturnal. She was hyperactive, I'm slow. She was a people person, I'm a loner. She was very positive, I'm kind of negative. She often wondered how I could be the way I am, given that she and my dad were not like me. But anytime I expressed any negativity, she countered with a relentless stream of positivity. Now, without her, I'm going to have to figure out the positivity for myself. My mother loved her Juno email. I would often still be up early in the morning when she awoke, and the first thing she did was check her email. She loved to send out inspirational emails to people. Whenever her computer went down, she was anxious for me to get it back up so she could get to her email. She laughed how attached she had become to something she had not grown up with. She also enjoyed her Netflix DVD subscription for watching movies. She told me she rarely watched movies before Netflix, but all of a sudden she was watching one DVD after another. She also started following the Lakers about the time Pau Gasol joined the team. She never really followed them before. She observed that Lakers were better looking than other teams. But they didn't have enough three-point shooters. It's still a problem. I wish that my mom had had a daughter, or granddaughter, who was just like her. I'm pleased to see that my cousins have been quite prolific. I can only hope that one of their daughters can grow up to be as kind, as warm, and as positive as my mother was. Thank you.
These are the words of your cousin Marius, the youngest son of Tita May. As a mother should be, my mom was a source of steadfast comfort and encouragement, never wavering. She too was an iron lady, daring to travel the world with my father and 3 small ones in tow, and later, standing strong when he passed on way too soon. Looking back on things, I was fortunate as a child to have had a stay-at-home mom. Some of my fondest memories of my mom are from this period in time, when she would sit me right next to her or on her lap, then read to me from a Dr. Seuss or Curious George book as her hand glided across the words. After my father died, she endeavored to hang on to our house and get us all through school. I planned on taking care of my mom till she was 100 or more. Until the very end, though, it was more like she was the one taking care of everyone else. I will be missing you, but always remembering you.
Those of you who knew my mother know that she possessed all of the qualities mentioned in the remembrances you heard today. Kind, generous, personable, relentlessly positive. Those of you who knew my mother also know that she liked to tell stories. In particular, she had a trove of treasured stories that she would tell again and again. Those who had heard my mom's stories a time or three before would sort of groan inwardly and think, oh, that story again. But if you watched my mom when she told her stories, she would always tell them as if she was telling them for the first time. And you could see that she was watching the stories play out in her mind's eye, as if she was watching the events unfold anew. One of her favorite stories involved me as a toddler. We were living in her parents' house in the Philippines, and my Tito Tony, my Uncle Tony, was paying a visit to court my Tita Delia, my mom's sister Del. My mom was in attendance as hostess and chaperone. I guess I decided to help my mom play gracious host because I brought Tony a book. He was understandably intent on his conversation, so he took the book, thanked me, and set it aside. I then brought him a magazine. I suppose I thought the book wasn't to Tony's liking, which he set aside without really looking at it. I brought him yet another magazine, which Tony also set aside. At some point, I guess I ran out of magazines, because I then brought Tony some dried cat poop from a nearby planter. As before, Tony took my offering without looking at it, and set it beside him. At which point my mom took a look, but Tony sat down and said, Tony, what is that the Norman gave you? Much hand-washing then ensued. Whenever my mom told the story, I could see her amusement and consternation at her little boy. And I could see the love that she had for the toddler that I was the same love that she had for the man that I became. So I never begrudged my mother that story or any other. On behalf of my family, thank you. Thank you for your support, for your love, for your prayers. And may my mother continue to live in your memories as vividly and as lovingly as you all lived in yours.